All right, Anuj, we'll come back to you with more market updates. Let's go to now our panel of expert guests. We're joined by Adi Godrej, the chairman of the Godrej Group, Sanjay Nair, CEO and country head of KKR India, and Nilesh Shah of Axis Capital. Gentlemen, to all three of you, a very warm welcome. Mr. Godrej, are you, in a sense, comforted by the kind of decisive victory the NDA and the BJP have got? And by that I mean that this is not a fractured mandate, this is a clear mandate, and hopefully this party now has enough power to move faster when it comes to reform, governance changes and all of that.
Yes, I think it's very good news that there is a very strong mandate for the new NDA government, but we must remember the Rajya Sabha is still controlled by opposition parties, so that might be a problematic area for legislation passing. I suppose it will depend a lot on how the new government is able to manage the opposition parties for any legislation that needs Rajya Sabha passing. I think that may hold up some legislative action. But executive action, I expect will be done very well. I think the government need not pander to several parties in its coalition as earlier governments for many decades in India have had to. I think we should see more efficiency come in. Hopefully the number of ministries will be reduced, because currently we have just too many ministries, too many issues divided among ministries which fight among themselves. So I see a tremendous opportunity for improvement in governance.
All right, Sanjay, are you as enthused by what has happened today in terms of a decisive mandate?
Absolutely.
And what would be on your to-do list for this government, the top 3 things they need to do in the next 3 months?
Well, I think that's a tough question, but I think just the answer to your first question, I think it's fantastic, the results. I think it's a game changer in a way, because it's no longer just a kind of a coalition government or a strong coalition. There's a clear majority. I think that makes a big difference, because there are no longer any trade-offs. Even a strong coalition, you end up making trade-offs. I think that's history now, which I think is great news. I think to-do list, I'm sure we're going to talk later, but I would just say it should be capacity building. I mean, the country needs real capacity building in every aspect, and I would say that is the number one thing, which will involve both executive and legislative decisions. So there's a bit of maneuvering to be done there. But I would say in one word, it's just capacity building.
You represent foreign investors, Sanjay, if I may say so, right? Do you think that when they look at this mandate, it will give them the comfort to come back to India in heaps, as opposed to what's gone on in the last 2 or 3 years?
I mean, again, depends what kind of foreign capital, right? I mean, people have not run away from India either. I think they need to give some really good signals to the foreigners, especially those who represent long-term strategic capital, solve the old tax cases. They can make one big announcement. I'm sure they could, just solve the issue.
All the cases before arbitration, say
whatever, just get it done, whatever it is. You charge them what you want. So I think decisiveness is key, and not just the impression of doing trade-offs all the time, howsoever well-meaning those were. And I come back to the point. I think if you can build capacity in this country, whether it's infra, education, agricultural, capital markets, I mean, there's capacity building required everywhere, because otherwise the opportunity is never going to play out.
Nilesh, both Mr. Godrej spoke about legislative action that could take time. We've had, I think, Ms. Munjal earlier talking about India being a very large ship which cannot be turned overnight. Be that as it may, there is a lot of low-hanging fruit that can be got. GST not low-hanging fruit, but it can be pushed through. The number of projects that are stuck that can be cleared by just executive action, very large. Based on that, how optimistic are you from here?
So in my working life, this is the first government decisive mandate. Okay. I have never seen that, so I'm extremely excited.
Okay.
And I'm sure there are enough people like me in the country who are as excited. Number 2, being a Gujarati, I know what Gujarat model is. So let's look at what they have done in Gujarat, and can that be replicated pan-India? So one, the bureaucracy solicits investment, then they give speedy approval, and thereafter they follow up to ensure that execution happens on the ground. If you see rural Gujarat, their roads are better than probably any part of the country. Second, they have power available, and it's available at a price. It's not free power. And if you don't pay your power bill, it gets punished quite severely. And more importantly, the farming in Gujarat has been given huge incentive. So they have made BT cotton seeds, introduced in Gujarat. They have built check dams to improve the water level. In my town where I earlier used to go, I used to get water which was salty with heavy mineral. Today I'm getting fresh water. That's the change with this check dams have done. If I look at the, experience of being in the urban Gujarat, there is e-governance. I want to pay municipal tax, I can pay it online. There is government service which kind of comes with committed delivery. So these are all the experiences which does suggest that without legislative changes, you can do so many things on the ground.
Nilesh, you look at capital markets closely. Given the list that you've drawn up, Sanjay is stressed on, Mr. Godrej is stressed on. Why haven't we seen a bigger pop in the markets today?
So one, we are looking at today, but just to look at from exit poll till today,
But
because
who expected these numbers? I mean, everybody was saying, look, if the NDA gets past 270, 272, we'll be happy. They won't need to rely on, let's say, a Jayalalitha or a Mamta or whatever, But look at this nature of decisive mandate was almost unanticipated. Yet we've seen not only no big pop, no circuit hit and all of that volatility that we were preparing for, we've seen a sell-off in the last hour or so.
it's more of a derivatives market where people are probably doing profit booking. If you are leveraged and you know that markets are going to go up, but still you need to cut your leverage and take your profit home. So my guess is that this is more of a correction which is coming because of the technicalities of the market rather than fundamentals
This
of the
doesn't
market.
signal to you what we might see happen in the weeks to come? Do you believe that, this somber mood we've seen in the last few hours of trade will get replicated over next week and the week after that on the equity markets?
I don't think so.
No?
Emphatically, I don't think so, because one, there is global capital which is waiting to invest in India. You can't go to Brazil because they have weak macros. You can't go to China because they have credit bubble. You can't go to Russia because they are in Ukraine. India is the only country where they should come. Second, look at the domestic investors. They typically invest based on past performance. So last 1 year, equity has outperformed gold, equity has outperformed real estate, equity has outperformed fixed income. The domestic flows, which is hugely underinvested in equities, is about to begin. Till now, my markets have run with one leg of FII. Now it's going to run with FII as well as domestic flows. Our worry will be where the supply will emerge, not where the prices will
So
go.
new IPOs. Let's get to Mr. Godrej. Moving away from the markets, you've been a big a champion for GST. What will disappoint you in terms of GST? I'm going to ask you what will disappoint you. What kind of words will you want to hear from the new government? How soon will you want to see it implemented?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense to implement GST as early as possible. Once GST is implemented, from the very next day, the GDP growth rate would go up by about 2 percentage points, other things being equal. So I think the government will introduce it as early as they can. But as I had mentioned earlier, Rajya Sabha control is not with this new government, although they are very strong in the Lok Sabha. So I think they will have to negotiate with opposition parties to get legislation done. That's one disadvantage the new government will have. But once some of the state elections come about in Maharashtra and some of the other states, then their strength in the Rajya Sabha is also probably likely to increase. But there is a lot of executive action based reforms that they can put through, which will enthuse the markets, which will enthuse business. I think perceptions will be very positive. Investments will start coming in, consumption will grow. I think people were holding back on consumption in many areas. So I think generally the positive tone and the positive perception that this election has created will add a lot to getting the economy moving again strongly.
Mr. Godrej, let me ask you a question we've been asking all our guests. Who do you expect will be the next finance minister? The name being bandied around the most in the last few weeks was Arun Jaitley. Unfortunately, I think the last I checked, Mr. Jaitley was trailing in his seat and he may not win that seat. So maybe his prospects of becoming finance minister dim considerably unless they find a Rajya Sabha route for him to do so. And the second question I wanted to tag on to that was that you and several other captains of industry in South Mumbai had endorsed Milind Devra. And I believe Mr. Devra is also trailing in his seat, in South Mumbai. Are you disappointed with what's happened there?
Well, on your first question, I think Arun Jaitley is already a member of the Rajya Sabha, so he could well become the finance minister. There are other suitable candidates too. As far as Milind Devra is concerned, I would have liked to have seen, although Congress has done very poorly, I would have liked to have seen some of the bright young members of parliament from Congress to be elected, but unfortunately they look like they are not. So people like Jyotiraditya Scindia, Sachin Pilot, Milind Devra, last I heard, were trailing. So it's a shame. Whatever few members from the Congress party we see in Parliament, I would have liked to have seen bright young people among them, because having a strong, sensible opposition is also important. But overall, it's excellent for the country that we have a very strong ruling government. I think this is the first time in about 30 years that we have a government that will have a majority from the ruling party.
Yeah, I think we now have it clear that Jaitley has lost,
Yes, he has lost.
and that Captain Amrinder Singh has won. And I think Jyotiraditya Scindia has won his
He's
seat,
winning,
but
yes, has
Sachin
won.
and Milind are trailing in that. Sanjay, you have a preference for finance minister? That's the question going around nowadays. Does it matter to you whether it would be a politician so as to maybe, let's say, move speedily on things like GST, because you need a politician to be able to sort of spearhead that kind of a bill, or it could be a technocrat? You know, rumors going around, Mr. Kamath, Mr. Parekh, the last few weeks has been...
Really, I don't have any particular view on that, and I think if you have a well-run, cohesive cabinet with a strong leader at the top of it, I think a lot of things fall into place. But yes, I do hope it is somebody who's technically knowledgeable and somebody who can again make the trade-offs at a kind of micro level. I would welcome that, but I really don't have any particular preference or about the name. We've all been hearing about Jaitley's name, but I'm not an expert in that, frankly. I think the larger issues are that whoever the finance minister is, he's got to really take a stock of the treasury. I mean, to really come clean on what the fiscal deficit is all about.
Now we're talking top 3 things to do. Clean up the fisc. Actually,
So
first expose the fisc.
I'd
Give us
first make
the
sure
real
that you guys
numbers.
have 7 minutes of a bullish environment. Let's talk about some reality now. So I think someone's got to really come and look at the books.
Yeah.
And I think the books are pretty clean, but you know, they're probably underspent and they're underinvested. So somebody has to think about how to, you know, get the money from, you know, with the kind of deficit we have. The deficit itself may not be large, but given the lot of payments due to people, and you true up for that, I think the deficit is much larger. I think the receipts are not very clear unless you get the growth back, which is going to be a lag effect, not a leading effect. So I think there are some tough trade-offs for the new people to handle, and I think that's where a good finance minister who's thoughtful about what he's going to be able to monetize, where can he invest, what returns can he get, where can he make a few bets. I think under a strong leader and a cohesive cabinet, I'm sure he can do it, because he'll need the help of a lot of other ministries, right? You want to monetize some public sector, you want to sell some land or whatever it is. Okay. I think that's the very tough next job, because we don't have the fiscal flexibility to spend our way out of the issue.
That's
so you really
the
have to
near
create
and present danger
the
facing any
capacity. How do you do it?
government,
Yeah.
That really is.
People think that the market knows more, market doesn't know as much. We have to have a belief. Markets don't discount these things so soon. This will go on for months and years. It's a new cycle, a new phase, a new round of optimism. And unless somebody breaks it, I think this will go on for a long, long time.
All right, Samir, stay right there. We're going to have to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and talk about the markets and the economy in just a couple of minutes with Samir Arora and our guests here in studio, Sanjay Nair and Nilesh.
आज ये पता चला गया कि हम केवल सरकार बनाने के ही मुद्रा में नहीं है, शुद्ध रूप में बीजेपी का नंबर इतना आ रहा है कि हम बिना किसी दबाव की सरकार बना सकते हैं। उसके बाद भी हम जो एनडीए के हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं उनको लेकर सरकार बनाएंगे, और आगे की चीजें जैसे जैसे समय आएगा तय होंगी और वैसे वैसे आपको उत्तर भी मिलेगा।